Good morning, team members. This is James Buchanan. I'm going to be covering a couple of subjects here this morning. We have had several team members asking about marking payments. So I want to go over a couple of subjects this morning. I want to go over marking payments to show you exactly how you go about marking a payment manually, and also I want to cover contacting Infinity Downline Support, which is actually you're contacting multiplex systems. So if you have a problem, you can always open a support ticket and relay the problem onto support and have them take care of the problem, such as mark payments. Any problems that you may encounter. I have actually encountered only two problems since being a member of Infinity Downline. Actually, I had one member, his pass up had signed up, and he actually didn't fall on my pay line like he should have. So I had to contact support, had to have that member contact support, and we got it all straightened out. And he showed up on my pay line correctly, and it was taken care of. But I just want to cover, marking payments manually, how you want to go about doing that, and the results show you exactly what you need to do. And if there are any problems, you will need to definitely contact support and have them take care of this problem for you. First off, I want to show you. I'm going to go into. I've already logged into my Infinity Backoffice. So now what I want to do is I want to show you guys my unpaid member list. So this is my unpaid. I clicked here. It says unpaid members, direct unpaid referrals. Guys, this is the list of people that have signed up, under my link and never made a payment. Guys, you're going to have a lot of people that sign up. In other words, they create an Infinity account, but they will never make a payment. People come up with excuses why, they don't have the money at the moment, so on and so forth. And then, once the excuses start, they're never going to make a payment. Um, so, I have an extensive, after doing this for 5 months, I have an extensive, you know, unpaid member list. But when people do this, they will actually only be active. In other words, in the mark payment tab, I believe it is 10 days. So if you take my last unpaid referral here, he actually signed up on March the 3rd, and today is the 5th. My next one in line here is February 24th. Okay, so it's already been what is that, 11 days, okay, since he created an account and a payment wasn't made. So the first thing I want to make sure you guys are doing is I want you to go to your profile tab, and I'm going to talk about payment options. So if you click on your profile tab, that's going to take you, to your personal information and you know, what you need to know up there at the very top. That's your address, telephone number, so on and so forth. Guys, you can add, little personal information here where it says about me text in here. But I want to talk about payment information. Okay, this says right here payment information, how people can pay you within the system. Guys, to process payments manually, you want to make sure that you have both of these checked. You want to make sure cash is checked and checks are ticked. Okay. I also accept MoneyGram and Western Union. Okay. You want to make sure those are checked. So in other words, someone could send you a MoneyGram or Western Union. You can go in and mark the payment. Okay, so the payment options. that they have as far as Infinity is PSI Gate, Payza, PayPal, LinkPoint, Authorize.net, Instabill, and guys, Google Checkout is no longer, as of August of 2013, Google did away with their merchant accounts. So Google Checkout is not a possibility anymore. So I actually signed up a couple weeks ago with LinkPoint. LinkPoint is a payment processing service just like PayPal, and they charge you $24.95 a month to process credit card payments. So if you start getting, a lot of payments like I do, then you're getting PayPal is charging a dollar, something per transaction fee. So as you can see, that can add up really quickly on the fees that PayPal are charging. Excuse me. So, to me, link point 24.95, that's actually saving money. If I process more than 25 payments in a month with PayPal, I'm actually paying more than 24.95 that I do with link point. But I signed up with link point and they accept all credit cards. That's Discover. I mean, any credit card, American Express. Um, so that way, it's just another payment option, another way that people can make payments to you and through the system. But guys, these are the only ones that they actually offer through your back office. Now, you can have an alternate payment. You don't have to use the ones that are listed here. Now, I know we have several members that are in South Africa and they're having problems with PayPal. So there are actually payment processors there in South Africa that you can use. Okay, so if you use one of those services, actually you can add the payment instructions right here in this box on how to go to that site or how to go to your payment processor so that they can make a payment, to you, and then you will have to go in and manually, mark the payment. So, here's some examples down here. If it's put in WW, whatever your payment processor is. However, they need to get to the payment processor, put that, in this box right here. In other words, this is giving them instructions how to get to your payment processor and make a payment. So once you have this all in here, like I said, once you make sure that you have cash and checks, MoneyGram or Western Union, any changes you make to your profile, you always want to make sure you hit the update profile. Okay, so that will um, take care of setting up your profile correctly. You want to make sure you have as many payment options as you want on there and get that all set up correctly. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you, if you go to the Mark Payments tab, you click the Mark Payments tab, that's going to be a list of, uh, you know, everybody that is, you can process a payment basically. So down here at the very bottom, you can see not started payment plans. Now, as I showed you in my unpaid member list, this guy actually signed up March the 3rd, so he's showing up. So if you click process, that will take you to the next page and you can actually process the payment. And this will show over here, as you can see, who the sponsor was. And actually, this guy here is from Quentin. So this would actually be his number 2 pass up. So another thing here, guys, if you're trying to, you actually have your second or fourth that is going to be cash, or you've accepted a check or some kind of other payment other than through the system, guys, you need to contact your sponsor because it will actually show up on your sponsor's unpaid list. In other words, it'll show up down here in the not started payment plans. And like I said, this is actually Quentin's pass up that's showing up on my not started payment plans. Okay, so excuse me, guys. I've had several members already that their pass ups, I had to mark payments for them. Okay, their second and fourth person, they contacted me, said, look, they paid in cash and I simply went down here and marked the payment for them. But guys, like I said, I think there is a grace period on this of 10 days. So if someone is made an account, or someone signed up and you're wanting to get this process, the payment process, guys, you have, like I said, I'm pretty sure 10 days to make sure that you can process the payment. If not, they're not going to show up on this list. In other words, they will fall off of this list and you won't be able to see them anymore. So, with that being said, if I want to process a payment, therefore, say this guy right here that signed up March the 3rd, I would simply click process. Okay, so now what you want to do is when you'll get to this page right here. So now you want to select how, you know, you got paid. So in other words, these are through the ones through the system itself. If for some reason, you actually got a payment through PayPal, but it didn't go through your Infinity site, you can go. That's happened to me several times. Like I got the payment in PayPal, but it never went through the system correctly. So you would mark PayPal, go into your PayPal, and you actually got a transaction ID through PayPal. So you would want to put the trans ID in, and put that in there. The payment amount would be 25. You would put in here. You would just put 25 like that, no dollar sign, and you don't need an account ID. This says optional. So, but if it's cash, you're going to put custom payment processor, and then you're going to put on here. We're going to say cash. Okay, like that. So trans ID, it says required. I would believe you would just put cash there again. I'm not for sure on that. um, I'm actually, marking that because I've actually just marked everything that I've done through PayPal. So even when someone, like say they got cash, okay, I've had a couple of people that their signups, actually I processed the payment. Actually, when they received the money, guys, what happened was they just went and sent the money, or the payment directly to my PayPal email address. In other words, they sent me the money to PayPal. So therefore, I had a trans ID to process the payment, even though they received the cash. They sent the payment to me through PayPal. So when that happened, I just marked PayPal and I got the trans ID 20, mark 25 here, and you hit this just one time, guys. So hit submit, and it will actually mark the payment. Now, if your members are not showing up in that list there, or for some reason that the payment was never processed, or you can't process that payment, guys, you need to contact support. Okay, what you want to do is you want to click the support tab. Okay, and it's going to open up into a different window. This is actually multiplex systems. And if you don't have an account already created, you need to create an account to open a support ticket, guys. So basically, that's just your name and email address, and create a password, so on and so forth. So I use the same email address that's I'm using for my Infinity Backoffice. Created a password that will make you an account. Now, you have some options there when you first, click that. It's going to say, would you like to open a support ticket? Actually, I'm going to do it through here and show the tab. So if I click support, it's actually going to open up and you're going to see the options here. So, you got tickets, submit a ticket, the knowledge base. You can search questions that you may have. This is actually a troubleshooter, news, and then downloads. So, I mean, if you're having problems, you could go through the troubleshooter maybe, maybe look it up in the knowledge base. But if you want to submit a ticket, you're going to click submit a ticket. So, okay, I've already done that in the other window here. So now you want to make sure that you have, because these are all the other programs listed through multiplex systems. So you want to make sure you're in the right program to submit this support ticket. So you want to click infinitydownline.com. You don't want Infinity 100. You don't want, Text Broadcast Club, Ultimate Cycler. You don't want any other, but Infinity Downline. Okay, once you have that marked, you want to click Next. Okay, it's going to take you to submitting a ticket. Guys, if you want a response on this, you're going to have to set this priority because they go by the priority of the ticket. Now, I've either set mine to urgent, emergency, or critical. So if I'm looking for a quick response, I'm going to put emergency or critical on there because they go through these tickets in the priority that they get them. In other words, if it's set at low or medium or even high, okay, it's put at the bottom of the list. So they're going to take care of the critical tickets first, and then the emergency, then the urgent, so on and so forth. Okay. So if you're wanting to mark a payment for someone up there, okay, put on the subject line, I need to mark a payment manually. Okay, and the support will do this for you. Okay, they've taken care of it for me once before, and no problems. So I believe I marked that either critical or emergency, and I got a response back within 24 hours. So what you want to do is you want to tell them what the problem is. Okay, if you're submitting, wanting them to mark a payment for you, you're going to have to tell them who the person is, their ID that they signed up under. What is their, Infinity Downline ID? Give them the information, their email address, their telephone number, the Infinity Downline ID, and tell them that you received a payment, by cash, let's say, and that you would need them to mark a payment for you. And they will do that. So put all that information in there, tell them what the problem is, and then click the submit button, guys. Even if you screenshotted something, like say the member or any other files, you can also add a file to that, upload a file with the ticket. So that's what you want to do. Click submit, and it will send the support ticket off. Okay, so that's how, excuse me, you go about submitting a support ticket. Okay, so if there are any other, um, questions as far as marking payments, guys, it's pretty much that simple. You want to make sure you go to the Mark Payments tab, not the Make Payments, but Mark Payments. You want to scroll. Everybody that's active on your downline is actually going to show up there. You can process those payments manually. Your unpaid members, like I said, guys, I believe they only stay in your list down there for 10 days from the date they signed up. So, like I said, I have an extensive unpaid member list. So, as you can see, they're not all showing up there. And also realize that, if you're trying to process a payment on your second or fourth person, you will need to get in contact with your sponsor because they will actually show up in your sponsors list, okay? Because they are getting passed to your sponsor. So therefore you can't mark the payment, it won't show it, actually it'll be on your sponsors list. So you need to contact that person, whoever your sponsor is, get in contact with them. You guys work together, and your sponsor can mark that payment for you, and then they will be showing on active as your downline, as your qualifiers, your second and fourth. So I hope that answered a lot of questions that you guys have been having as far as marking payments. Excuse me. It's really simple. Like I said, once the person is there, you simply click that process icon. You're going to be taken to this screen. You just simply put the information in, click submit, and it goes through. So then that means you're going to get an email that says you received a Powerline payment. Okay, and it actually goes through the system and marks them as a payment was accepted. So in other words, that they're active, and they're able to sign people and get credit for everything. Because guys, if people are not active in your downline, and they're trying to sign people up, it's not going to let them sign those people because they're not active. So you always want to make sure that everybody is active that's supposed to be active on your pay line. If you're accepting cash, checks, MoneyGram, Western Union, you want to make sure all that's set up into your, your profile and your payment options, and make sure that's all in there correctly and updated. So, guys, I hope this helped you out. And like I said, if you have any problems whatsoever within the system, guys, I try to help everyone. I try to cover the questions. I try to help everyone as much as possible. But there's only so much I can do. I'm not the moderator of Infinity Downline. I mean, I can point you in the right direction, tell you what you need to do. Um, but I mean, guys, if you are having a major problem, you simply need to contact support. Like I said, there's a lot of stuff there as far as the knowledge base, and the troubleshooter, so on and so forth. So this is an option that you guys need to take advantage of. Like I said, I've had to use the support, open a couple of support tickets, never had any problems. They replied. We got the payment, the problem resolved, and it was in a timely manner. I think it might have taken from the start when I opened the ticket till finally finished. It was maybe 3 days, but I got a response back within 24 hours. Communicated back and forth with support. We got the problem taken care of. It was resolved within 3 days. So just letting you know that's the option that you have. If you have any problems whatsoever within the system itself, open a ticket, explain that problem to them, make sure you're marking a priority of that ticket, as emergency or critical right here. That way, they're going to take care of those first. Okay, so guys, I'm going to get out of here, and try to get a conference call for the team together today. I'm thinking about maybe getting two of them. I haven't done one in a while. I think there's some people that I, would want to get in, and let's all do some brainstorming and sharing some information with each other. And I always like getting in those. But guys, I've been really, really busy. And like I explained to you guys before, it takes me several hours to do one of these videos. By the time I make it, review it, upload it to YouTube, get it posted in a group, so on, I've already 2 or 3 hours have already gone by. So making training videos is a time-consuming process, um, and I do that to help everyone in the group. So I hope that answered a bunch of your questions on as far as marking payments. Okay, guys, I'm getting out of here. Have a successful day today.